Have you ever wondered if there's such a thing as too much meditation? We are often told that meditation is the key to peace, wisdom, and enlightenment, that the more we meditate, the closer we come to the truth. But what if I told you that beyond a certain point, meditation can lead you into strange and uncharted territories? That the very practice meant to bring clarity can, if overdone, dissolve the boundaries of reality itself? There are stories, many of them hidden, whispered through ancient traditions, of monks who stared too long into the void and lost themselves, of sages who, through relentless inner stillness, severed their connection to the world entirely. In the depths of prolonged meditation, some have experienced extreme detachment, spontaneous, out-of-body experiences, or even a terrifying sense of dissolving into nothingness. In this video, we will explore a side of meditation that few dare to discuss. We will look into the historical and philosophical roots of excessive meditation, the experiences of those who have taken it too far, and the unexpected consequences that can arise when one dives too deeply into the ocean of consciousness. More importantly, we will uncover what these experiences mean and how you can navigate the fine balance between spiritual growth and losing yourself in the abyss. Prepare yourself for a journey beyond the ordinary, because once you cross a certain threshold, there is no turning back. Meditation is as ancient as human civilization itself. From the hermits of the Himalayas to the Zen monks of Japan, from the mystics of the Egyptian temples to the Sufi dervishes lost in divine ecstasy, countless seekers have turned inward in search of truth. But within every tradition, there exists a hidden warning. To lose oneself entirely in the depths of meditation is to walk a razor's edge between enlightenment and annihilation. In Buddhism, the story of Siddhartha Gautama, before his enlightenment, serves as a powerful lesson. Before he became the Buddha, Siddhartha practiced extreme asceticism, starving himself, meditating for days without food or water, and nearly bringing himself to death. He later realized that self-mortification was not the path to liberation, but rather balance, the middle way. His story is a reminder that even in meditation, excess can be dangerous. In Hindu philosophy, the Upanishads speak of yogis who, through prolonged meditation, detached so completely from their bodies that they no longer returned from their trances. It is said that some entered states so deep that they stopped eating, moving, or acknowledging the physical world altogether. Some ancient texts even speak of yogis who became living ghosts, souls untethered from the material realm, existing in a space between life and death. The Christian desert fathers, mystics who retreated into the wilderness to meditate and seek God, wrote of the noonday demon, a force that attacked those who meditated too long in solitude. They described a strange emptiness, a spiritual void that could lead to overwhelming despair or a loss of one's sense of self. Some modern scholars interpret these accounts as early descriptions of dissociation caused by excessive contemplation. In Taoism, the concept of Wu Wei, effortless action, teaches that harmony is found not in extremes but in flow. Ancient Taoist texts warn against excessive meditation, cautioning that too much inward focus can cause one to lose touch with the qi, life force, needed to remain grounded in the world. It is said that some Taoist monks became so detached from reality that they lost their ability to function in everyday life, becoming immortal in spirit, but useless in the world. Even in modern psychology, we see parallels. Some individuals who meditate excessively report experiences of depersonalization, feeling detached from their own body or emotions. Others speak of extreme detachment from reality, an eerie sense of floating through life as an observer rather than a participant. While meditation can enhance mental clarity, overuse may erode the very sense of self that anchors us in the physical world. So, what happens when you push the boundaries too far? What lies beyond the limits of meditation, in the realms where only the most extreme practitioners have ventured? That's what we will explore next. Meditation, at its core, is a tool for expanding awareness. It allows us to observe our thoughts, detach from the noise of the mind, and connect with something deeper, whether that is inner peace, higher consciousness, or even the fabric of reality itself. But like any powerful tool, when taken to extremes, meditation can bring unexpected and even unsettling consequences. One of the first effects of excessive meditation is ego dissolution. In normal practice, meditation helps loosen the grip of the ego, allowing us to see reality more clearly. However, when meditation is taken to an extreme, the dissolution of ego can become overwhelming. Imagine waking up one day and realizing that you no longer recognize yourself, not just in the mirror, but in your thoughts, your emotions, and even your sense of identity. You are still here, but who is here? This experience has been described by advanced practitioners across traditions. Some call it entering the void, a state where the boundaries between self and the universe blur. While this may sound like a step toward enlightenment, for those unprepared, it can be deeply disorienting. The I that once anchored you to reality begins to fade, leaving behind a formless awareness that, if uncontrolled, can feel like an abyss rather than liberation. A modern example of this phenomenon can be found in individuals who have spent long periods in deep meditation retreats. Some have reported feeling as though they are watching life from a distance, detached from emotions, desires, and even basic human instincts. This is known in psychology as derealization and depersonalization syndrome, a state in which the world feels unreal and the self feels like a hollow shell. Furthermore, excessive meditation can lead to a breakdown of sensory perception. As the mind detaches from the physical world, normal sensory experiences can become distorted. Some practitioners have described experiencing intense light phenomena, auditory distortions, or even full-blown hallucinations. The Buddhist concept of the 10 corruptions of insight warns about these illusions, visions, lights, or supernatural experiences that can mislead a meditator into thinking they've reached enlightenment when, in reality, they've simply overstimulated their nervous system. Then, there is the loss of motivation for the material world. Many advanced meditators report a growing disinterest in everyday life. Relationships, work, personal goals, all begin to seem insignificant in comparison to the vastness of consciousness. While this may sound like detachment in a spiritual sense, it can also lead to isolation, a loss of purpose, and an inability to function in normal society. This is why many spiritual traditions emphasize the importance of balancing meditation with engagement in the physical world, because total withdrawal can become a prison just as much as an awakening. But what happens when this process continues? When the mind goes deeper into meditation, past the dissolving of the self, past the loss of sensory perception, and into something even stranger. This is where we enter the most mysterious and unsettling realms of deep meditation, the places where reality itself begins to unravel. If the first stage of excessive meditation is the dissolution of the self, the next stage is something even more profound, the dissolution of reality itself. Imagine sitting in deep meditation for hours, days, or even weeks. At first, your awareness expands. You feel connected to everything. But then, something shifts. The world begins to feel less real, like a dream you are slowly waking up from. The laws of reality, once so firm, begin to feel optional. This phenomenon has been described by advanced meditators as breaking the illusion, the experience of realizing that the external world is not as solid or permanent as we once believed. In extreme cases, some practitioners report that their sense of space, time, and even physical form begins to dissolve. One famous account of this comes from Ramana Maharshi, the great Indian sage. As a young man, he spontaneously entered a deep meditative state where he became utterly convinced that his body was not him. He lay down and consciously observed his own death, not physically but spiritually. When he returned from this state, he was no longer the same person. The self he once identified with was gone, and only pure awareness remained. Similarly, in Zen Buddhism, there are stories of monks who, after years of extreme meditation, reached states where they could no longer distinguish between waking life and a dream. The world became an illusion, a play of energy and perception. While this may sound like enlightenment for some, it becomes a terrifying state of disconnection, where nothing feels real, and the fabric of existence itself seems to flicker in and out. Another consequence of excessive meditation is spontaneous, out-of-body experiences. Many people practice astral projection intentionally, but deep meditation can sometimes cause this accidentally. There are cases of meditators suddenly finding themselves floating above their own bodies, unable to return for long periods. Some experience this as a profound awakening, others as a disturbing loss of control over their own being. Even science has taken note of these strange effects. Neuroscientists studying experienced meditators have found that in some cases, prolonged meditation suppresses activity in the brain's default mode network, the part responsible for maintaining a stable sense of self and reality. When this suppression becomes extreme, practitioners can enter states of profound emptiness, where personal identity and the external world seem to vanish entirely. And then there is the final threshold, the state that few speak of, yet many fear. It is known in various traditions by different names. The Great Void in Buddhism, the Black Sun in alchemy, the Dark Night of the Soul in Christian mysticism. This is the state where all concepts, including time, space, and personal existence, disappear completely. Some who have entered this state describe it as a terrifying nothingness, a place beyond perception, beyond even the experience of being alive. Others see it as the final step toward true enlightenment, a dissolution into the infinite. But here lies the great paradox. If the ultimate goal of meditation is to transcend the self and dissolve into the greater whole, then what happens when you go too far? Is it freedom or is it oblivion? For some, the return from this state is deeply transformative. They come back with a profound sense of peace, forever changed. For others, the return is difficult as they struggle to reintegrate into the world, now feeling like a stranger in their own life. So how can one meditate deeply without falling into these extreme states? How does one balance spiritual awakening with staying grounded in reality? That is what we will explore next. Meditation is a doorway to higher states of consciousness. But like any powerful practice, it requires balance. While deep meditation can lead to profound insights, it can also cause disorientation, dissociation, and a loss of connection to the physical world. The key is to walk the middle path, to reap the benefits of meditation while staying grounded in reality. Here are practical ways to ensure that your meditation practice enhances your life rather than destabilizes it. 1. Balance meditation with physical activity. Deep meditation can make you feel detached from your body, so it's essential to counterbalance it with movement-based practices like yoga, tai chi, or even simple walking. In many traditions, monks engage in physical work, sweeping, gardening, or martial arts, to stay connected to their bodies after long periods of stillness. A good rule of thumb: for every hour of meditation, spend at least 15 to 30 minutes engaged in physical movement. This keeps the body and mind in harmony. 2. Set clear time limits for meditation. Rather than meditating for excessively long periods, aim for structured sessions. 20 to 40 minutes twice a day is considered optimal for most practitioners. Advanced meditators may go longer, but if you begin to feel dissociated or disconnected from life, it's a sign to pull back. In ancient monastic traditions, meditation was often done in short, intensive bursts, followed by engagement in daily life. This method prevents over-immersion in non-ordinary states of consciousness. 3. Stay connected to the world. Some meditators become so absorbed in inner experiences that they lose interest in socializing, working, or even engaging in basic conversations. If you find yourself withdrawing, make an effort to reconnect with the world. Have conversations with friends and family. Engage in creative hobbies like painting, music, or writing. Spend time in nature to ground yourself. A truly enlightened person does not escape reality. They bring their wisdom into it. Practice mindfulness in daily life. Rather than meditating only in isolated sessions, practice mindfulness throughout the day. This means bringing meditation into your actions, whether eating, walking, or working. Instead of chasing deep trance states, learn to remain present in the ordinary moments. The Zen proverb says, "Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water." Spiritual progress is not about escaping reality, but seeing it with new clarity. Use grounding techniques if you feel unstable. If you ever feel lost, detached, or like reality is slipping away, grounding techniques can help bring you back. Hold a physical object, a rock, a piece of wood, and focus on its texture. Eat grounding foods like root vegetables, warm soups, or anything dense and nourishing. Engage your senses. Listen to music, smell essential oils, or walk barefoot on the earth. Use conscious breathing, long, slow breaths to anchor yourself in the present moment. 6. Understand the signs of going too far. If you experience any of the following, it may be time to step back. Feeling like life is a dream or unreal, derealization. Struggling to connect emotionally with others. Losing interest in basic self-care, food, or daily responsibilities. Experiencing frightening or overwhelming states of emptiness. If these arise, pause deep meditation and focus on grounding activities. Meditation is a tool for enhancing life, not escaping from it. 7. Meditate with a purpose, not just for depth. Instead of always diving into emptiness, use meditation for specific purposes: healing, insight, inner peace. Some of the most profound meditation practices involve visualization, mantra chanting, or contemplation on wisdom rather than pure void-like states. Meditation is like fire. Controlled, it brings warmth and light. Unchecked, it can consume everything in its path. True spiritual mastery is not about dissolving into nothingness, but learning to move between the worlds, between deep meditation and ordinary life, between the formless and the form, between silence and action. The greatest sages, from the Buddha to Lao Tzu to the mystics of every tradition, all realize this truth. Enlightenment is not an escape from life, but an awakening within it. The question is not whether meditation is good or bad. The question is, are you using it wisely? Meditation is a doorway, one that leads to clarity, wisdom, and profound inner peace. But as with all powerful practices, it must be approached with awareness. Too little, and we remain trapped in the illusions of the mind. Too much, and we risk losing ourselves in the void. Throughout history, sages, mystics, and monks have walked this razor's edge. Some emerged enlightened, forever transformed. Others fell into the abyss, losing touch with reality, their identities unraveling like whispers in the wind. The difference was not in meditation itself, but in the way it was balanced. So the question remains, what happens when you meditate too much? You dissolve. You transcend. You may even glimpse the ultimate truth. But if you are not prepared, if you push too far without grounding yourself, you may struggle to return. Meditation is not just about transcending the self, but about learning how to bring that transcendence back into the world. The real secret is this. True spiritual mastery is not about choosing between meditation and the material world, between stillness and action. It is about moving effortlessly between them. Like the Buddha who sat in deep silence but also walked among people, teaching and healing. Like the Taoist sages who retreated into the mountains but also cultivated their gardens. Like the Zen masters who could sit in meditation for hours and then laugh heartily over tea. Meditation is a journey, but the destination is not an escape from reality. The destination is awakening within reality. So if you seek deep meditation, do so with wisdom. Walk the middle path. Let your practice illuminate your life rather than consume it. The great mystics understood this truth. Now, the question is, will you?